Hi, guys. This is Matt Hamilton with US Lacrosse Magazine. I'm here with Will Manny of the Archers LC and the PLL. Today we're going to do 5 and 5, and he's going to do his top 5 feeders. If you haven't seen it on the website, you should check it out right now. But we're going to dive in a little bit of this top 5 with Will and have him expand on a couple of these. So before I start, I'm going to give you Will's top 5. His top 5 feeders of all time. Number 5 are Steele Stanwyck. Number 4, Grant Ament. Number 3, Tom Schreiber. Number 2, Ryan Boyle. And number 1, Rob Pannell. So that's the top 5. We're going to dive right in to this. And the most interesting one, at least that I see on this one, you have number 4 is Grant Ament, who is yet to play in the PLL. He's going to play on your team in a couple weeks here. So let's dive right into that. Grant Ament, why'd you pick him as number 4?
Yeah, it's a funny one, but that was kind of my outlier. He's the only guy I really haven't stepped on a field yet with, but for a game. But Grant, I was able to have him out here with the Archers a couple weeks ago and in person to see really how he throws the ball and how good he is with both hands and how accurate he is with a brand new stick that he just picked up is pretty impressive to me. And then, the numbers don't lie. He plays in the Big Ten. He played in the Big Ten at Penn State and breaks records and had over 90 something assists in one season. When what I like to relate it to is myself and a guy like Marcus, who had a lot of points in one season, 75 to 85 points in one season. Grant had more assists than combined points that we had. That's a lot of assists. And he gets to play against great competition. So I think the numbers don't lie with him. And then I think myself and a guy like Marcus playing with him in the PLL will help his numbers a little bit too. And we're kind of getting on the same page already.
Yeah, what would you say his potential is in the PLL? What can he really accomplish on your team and just beyond in his career?
Yeah, the cool thing about him is I think he could just do exactly what he was doing in college. He could dodge a pole and see how that matchup is. We can bring short sticks like Sankey and Ambler to him to run a big little behind and keep our shooters above the goal and just do what we do. So I think he fits perfectly into our model of our Archers offense. He brings that vision and then that Tom Schreiber vision from below that we already have up top. So on paper, that automatically sets us up for success more than last year. And I'm really looking forward to making it happen.
Yeah, it should be exciting. And we'll move from a guy who's just starting his pro career to a guy who's recently ended his pro career in Ryan Boyle. And you talk about in this post about how he started your career as an off-ball player. So how influential was Ryan in your career and just how great was it to watch him play?
Yeah, I remember my first game in the professional ranks. I did not dress and I was on the sideline for the Cannons and it was versus the Bayhawks and RB he went off in the fourth quarter and he scored the game winner. He did like a double spin on Spalina and then he dove across the crease and scored. And I obviously knew who Ryan was. He's one of my favorite players to watch and he's an idol to me in my eyes prior to even playing with him. But realizing when you go to a team that already has a quarterback, which I was in college, I was like, okay, what else can I do? And the only thing that came to mind was ask Ryan, and he said, try not to make mistakes, and find your role. And my role was not to be a quarterback anymore. With him behind the goal and him getting a little bit older in his career, he was kind of solidified at that position. So me, him, and Matt Posque were a pretty cool trio to run around. Matt was strictly a crease guy. I don't think he ever carried the ball. And then I was kind of that mixture. I would dodge a little bit, but also be an off-ball guy for Ryan. And we had a really cool connection. So his leadership and his kind of tier of lacrosse at the time that I got to play with him was I'm going to listen to him and I'm going to help him out to get him some more assists and make it hard for the defense. So our connection has been great and we talk a lot now too. So I'm glad that playing with him has created a really cool friendship of one of the best of all time.
Mm-hmm. Yep, one of the best of all time. He's a new Hall of Famer now. So Ryan Boyle at number 2. We'll move to number 1. He's a guy that's still playing now. He's going to make his PLL debut this summer. Is Rob Pannell. We've all seen him play, but for you, what makes him so good? Why did you put him at number 1?
Yeah, again, these top 5 are so unique in their own way. But from playing with Rob for a year and 3/4 or a year and a half for the Lizards. It right off the bat, it made it easy for me and for him because we were already good friends prior to this. And, you know, when I was at the time, I was in my 6th, 7th year in pro lacrosse, and you kind of find what works and what doesn't work by that time. And for me, it was building connections with your teammates, you know, and right away when I got traded, the first people I called were Rob and Paul Rabel. And I'm like, all right, what are we doing? Because I had a game 2 days later versus the Machine. And then, you know, for Rob, I just told him, listen, man, if you see me open, throw it. And we just had those conversations sitting next to each other in the locker room. And the word trust is the biggest thing. He trusted me. I trusted him. We were both going to make mistakes, trying to make plays. But we got on that page right off the bat, and that kind of set the tone. And those are a year and a half of my best lacrosse I've ever played. So that connection with Rob is huge. And, you know, he's a guy that is potentially going to be on 3 world teams. You know, he's been doing it for a long time since college, and he made the 14 team, made the 18 team, and now will make the 2023 team if he keeps doing what he's doing. So he's a guy that's been a staple, and he's not just a good feeder. The reason why he's a good feeder is because he could beat anybody at any moment doing a lot of different moves. So he's just a complete player, and he's a winner. I know a lot of people criticize a guy like Rob because they don't really know him, and he is at the top. But all he really wants to do is win and have fun with his teammates. And he pushes you to be the best that you can be.
Mm-hmm. Rob Pannell, is feeding is elite, and his workout videos on Instagram are elite. So he's got a lot going for him.
That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, well, Will, we appreciate you stopping by and walking through your top 5 here. Yeah, we walked through the top 5 feeders with Will Manny. So thanks again for joining us.
Yep. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate everything. And yeah, this is pretty cool. And again, those 5 guys, I'd play with any of them any day of the week. So it's pretty cool. I got to spend a lot of time with them throughout my lacrosse career.